All right, my fifth grade friends, this is our last video of your fifth grade year. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Hopefully you'll learn something. Uh, we're continuing on solving equations today. However, today we're going to be focusing on multiplication and division equations. But our idea that we presented yesterday remains the same. Isolate the variable. This first one is 8x equals 64. You want to get familiar. Anytime a number is right next to a variable, that means multiplication. So this is 8 times x equals 64. Since this is a multiplication equation, to isolate the variable, I divide, which means I divide this side by 8. That leaves me with x. But as we talked about yesterday, whatever I do to one side of the equation, which is on one side of the equal side, I have to do the same thing to the other side of the equation, which is the other side of the equal sign. So if I do 8x divided by 8 and end up with x, then I'm going to do 64 divided by 8. And 64 divided by 8 equals 8. X equals 8. Sure enough, 8 times 8 equals 64. The next one is 7x equals 49. 7 times x equals 49. Well, this is a multiplication. A number right next to a variable is multiplication. So I need to divide that side by 7. That leaves me with just x. If I divide this side by 7, I have to divide this side by 7. Of course, we're representing our division by fractions. 49 divided by 7 is 7. And sure enough, 7 times 7 is what equals 49. Now this is a division equation written as a fraction. X divided by 7 equals 21. X divided by 7 equals 21. Well, this is a division problem. X divided by 7. Okay, so how do I isolate the variable in a division problem? Well, I would actually multiply this by 7. X divided by 7 times 7 equals x. And of course, whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation. So if I'm multiplying this side by 7 to get x by itself, then I have to multiply this side by 7. So I'm going to go ahead and do 21 times 7. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. X equals 147. Sure enough, 147 divided by 7 equals 21. X divided by 5 equals 12. Well, x divided by 5, I want to isolate the variable. X divided by 5, when I multiply everything by 5, I get x. But whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation. So when I do x divided by 5 times 5, I get x. But I have to do 12 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Put the 0 down, carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. I get x equals 60. I can handle that. X equals 60. Well, let's look at one more. All right. Let's say I get 5x equals 368. Well, this one's not as straightforward because it's not really mental math. But the idea is the same. This is 5 times x equals 368. So really what I'm doing, okay, is to get x by itself, which is isolating the variable, I do 5x divided by 5. That leaves me with x. But whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So if I did 5x divided by 5 to get x, I have to do 368 divided by 5. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do 368 divided by 5. Well, 5 can't go into 3, but I know that 5 can go into 36 7 times. 7 times 5 is 35. 36 minus 35 is 1. I'm going to bring down the 8. 5 can go into 18. 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. 18 minus 15 is 3. I can't end up with a remainder. We aren't going to say that x equals 73, remainder 3. We're not going to do that. I handle that by adding a decimal and a 0. I have not changed the value of the 368, because 368 and 368.0 is the same thing. But I'm going to take this decimal and put it straight up, and there's going to be a decimal in my answer. I'm going to have to bring this 0 down, and now I'm figuring out how many times 5 can go into 30. Well, I know that 5 times 6 is 30. 5 can go into 30 6 times. There's none left over. 6 times 5 is 30. 30 minus 30 is 0. I get 73.6. X equals 73.6 by doing 368 divided by 5. Don't end up with a remainder. Add a decimal 0. You're going to have some problems like that on your paper, 4 of them to be exact. But you do them that way, you won't have a problem. All right, talk to you later, 5th grade. Bye.